I will hand it over to you. So Brother Sharif will talk us through the ayat we just recited. Inshallah, he will share some reflections on them. تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
عليكم السلام.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I believe that these ayat were chosen because they include the ayat that talk about Ramadan and Siyam, and it's a week today from Ramadan, mashallah, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. So we'll probably just talk about the ayat that spoke about Ramadan and Siyam. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala has said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. So the subject is addressed to those who believe. And when we receive this as the ones who are meant to be addressed by these ayats, we can, if we can reflect on it to the level where we can feel the honor of being addressed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the universe, as the believers, as the faithful. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. So as soon as you hear these ayat about the siyam and that we should fast, and we took it upon ourselves that we were meant by this ayat, we should be proud and honored and feel honored that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala has addressed us this way, and Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala has given us an assignment. Before we talk about an assignment, if you take an assignment from a higher level, it means you've been hired. And if we are hired to do the work of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, means that we, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, have qualified. And if we have been praying the 5 prayers and looking forward to live and stay alive until Ramadan, نسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يبلغنا رمضان, then we are qualified. And to start with this, we should be humbly happy that we are addressed by Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala in this ayat. And then he says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامِ. It has been prescribed upon you fasting. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayat is talking about how this siyam is not a new thing for humans, and it has been prescribed to all those who came before us, who walked the walk of Iman, trying to reach the pleasure of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In the Quran, we have the ayat about Musa alayhi salam when he was appointed to speak to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Allah has told him to fast. وَوَعَدْنَا مُوسَى 30 لَيْلَةً وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ فَتَمَّ مِيقَاتُ رَبِّهِ 40 لَيْلَةً. So the story that comes with this is Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has given Moses 30 days to fast, to be prepared that he would be able to speak to Allah after that. And that actually gives that meaning of how Siyam, and especially a whole month of Siyam, prepares you to the highest levels of Iman. So if you were chosen to be the prophet of Allah Ta'ala, you would have reached the level of getting the honor of speaking to Allah Ta'ala after the 30 days. The story is the story that Moses, that he was given 10 more days to fast, is that he realized after the fasting that his mouth smells. You know, when we fast for a long time, we need to change the smell of our mouths, and he thought, I'm going to speak to Allah, might as well. So he ate something to change the smell of his mouth. Allah Ta'ala says, I wanted you to meet me fasting with that smell. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ says, لَخَلُوفُ فَمِ الصَّائِمِ أَحَبُّ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ رِيحِ الْمِسْكِ. So the Prophet ﷺ tells us in Hadith Sahih that smell that comes out of the mouth of a fasting person, Allah Ta'ala loves this smell more than we love the smell of the perfume of misk. So Allah Ta'ala told Moses to go back and fast more 10 days and come back. So the siyam, according to this, purifies us and cures and purifies us to be prepared for the highest of existence in this universe, the existence of al-malaika. Because the malaika, as we know, they don't eat or drink or mate. And these exactly the things that we refrain from when we fast. So Allah Ta'ala is purifying us to recognize the angel part of ourselves. And he's also telling us to refrain from the things that only animals do. According to the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يَأْكُلُونَ وَيَتَمَتَّعُونَ كَمَا تَأْكُلُ الْأَنْعَامُ وَالنَّارُ مَثْوًى لَهُمْ. Allah Ta'ala says, those who don't believe, they eat and enjoy themselves and have all the pleasures of life like animals do, and they will not go to Jannah. So as we are, as human, are made of both the spirit and the body, we have that eternal struggle between the angel part of us and the animal part of us. And when Allah Ta'ala prescribes Siyam, Allah Ta'ala sends us the aid, the help to have the best part of us win over the part of us that is not as good. And Allah Ta'ala wants us to lift ourselves up from mud that we're made of and meet our spiritual selves, meet ourselves that are made of the light, that are made of the breath of Allah Ta'ala. As we know from the Quran, Allah says about Adam, نَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا. Allah has blown into Adam from his own soul and made him breathe, made him alive. So Allah Ta'ala, as He is giving us the help and the aid to recognize who we really are in the eyes of Allah Ta'ala, and who and what kind of potential that we can reach in the eyes of Allah Ta'ala of purification. Allah Ta'ala wants to give us the aid and help by prescribing. And the beautiful word prescribe, kutiba like written, prescribed, and it's like a medicine. It's like when you go to the doctor, you say the doctor kataba this and this pills, In Arabic we say that, in Egypt we say that. كتب الدكتور. So when Allah Ta'ala uses this word to talk about the obligation of Siyam, that it isn't a prescription, then it is actually a medicine for us to cure us for our own ego. And I'm going to say this word again, ego. And ego is partially translated as kibr, and a size or a weight of an atom, something that you cannot see with the naked eye, of that ego can take us away to hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. So in order for us to realize the magnitude of Ramadan, we have to see that this is a prescription to humans, to the believers who are in desperate need of this medicine, lift themselves up from the mud and be more of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to be, better than angels, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made angels kneel before Adam alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the potential in us to be better than angels, but we also have the tendency and the potential to if I can use the word potential, to become worse than animals, because animals eat and have the pleasure of life, and they don't sin because this is what we created for. But a human being that has the opportunity to be better than angels and opt down to become like an animal is worse than an animal, because animals don't have choice. So Allah Ta'ala reduces our daily sustenance to the necessary amount of it. Allah does not say fast 24 hours, but fast from Fajr to Maghrib. And that keeps you alive. It breaks the ego. It breaks that animal part of us. It washes us up and washes off that mud that we've been living through for day in and day out in our lives, enjoying all the pleasures of life, of things that are not necessary for sustaining our life or for worshiping Allah, but just for shahwa. And shahwa is defined by some of the ulama as what is beyond necessary. So the food of the sustenance of the individual and the mating that is also prohibited in the day of Ramadan is the sustenance of the kind, of the species. It is by which we continue to exist in this earth even after we die. So Allah Ta'ala wants us to delay the gratification of these pleasures. I call it the procrastination of gratification. Instead of procrastinating salah and procrastinating ibadah and procrastinating and reading our Quran and doing our duties, instead do these in time and procrastinate the gratification that we are always driven by our desires and by our shahwas to fulfill immediately as soon as we feel them, because they're available. So Allah Ta'ala does not want you to eat and have the pleasure of shahwa only because they exist. Allah Ta'ala wants you to be in control of the shahwa. because Allah Ta'ala wants to look at you as something that was worthy of making the angels prostrate themselves, kneel before, be worthy of that honor. And it is very disappointing to Allah Ta'ala to see us go and give that away for just the pleasure of food and intimacy. So as this has been said, Allah Ta'ala made the reason that after he said this ayah kutiba alaykum as-siyam, he made the purpose of this is لعلكم تتقون. Allah Ta'ala wants us to earn that taqwa. And taqwa, people can translate it in many ways, but I can't think of one word that translates taqwa. Taqwa is the awareness of Allah's presence, the awareness of Allah Ta'ala watching us, the consciousness of Allah Ta'ala, the fear and love of Allah, sincerity, and many meanings are involved in the meaning of taqwa. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has made the taqwa a prerequisite to be considered for Jannah. So there is no consideration for anybody to go to Jannah without having taqwa. That's in Surah Maryam. Allah Ta'ala says, تِلْكَ الْجَنَّةُ الَّتِي نُورِثُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا مَنْ كَانَ تَقِيًّا. The Jannah only inherits from amongst the servants of Allah, the slaves of Allah, ibadullah, only those who used to have taqwa. And also Allah Ta'ala makes it a necessity to pass on fire without falling. In the same surah, Allah Ta'ala says, وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. None of you, except that he will pass across the top of fire. And that has been decided and has been made a decision of Allah that is not going to change. كان على ربك حتما مقضيا. Allah تبارك وتعالى says in the next ayah, ثم ننجي الذين اتقوا. And then we will save those who have taqwa. So when Allah تبارك وتعالى says كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون, Allah makes the purpose of fasting is to save us from hellfire and to enter us into Jannah. After Allah Ta'ala does that prescription, prescribing the siyam, Allah gives the motivation, the reason He made it specifically in this month, Ramadan. Allah Ta'ala says in the ayah, in the full ayah, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. So to bring this beautiful thing, fasting, to bring this medicine, purification, cure of all worldly disease and illness and illnesses, to be in this month of Shahr Ramadan as a form of celebrating the constitution of morality, the constitution of good character, the constitution of building a good person, a good family, a good community, a good ummah. Al-Quran. Al-Quran is the one book that has all the principles needed to build the perfect person, the perfect family, the perfect community. Allah Ta'ala has created us for the purpose of being able to recite the Quran. In Surah Al-Rahman, Allah Ta'ala says, Ar-Rahmanu علم القرآن خلق الإنسان. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is mentioning the Quran first before mentioning the creation of humans. علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه, created human and taught him to be able to express himself and talk and understand. And basically, and before anything, to understand and reflect upon the word of Allah Ta'ala, Al-Quran. So in some sense, in the beginning of Surah Al-Rahman, the purpose of our creation is to learn the Quran and reflect upon it and celebrate it, not only by reciting it day and night, but also to take it upon ourselves, to make it, to bring it to life in our daily lives. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, Allah describes it, هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. So guidance for humans, and then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in this ayah, He does not say هدى للذين آمنوا, like He started by saying يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام. He's addressing the faithful, the believers. But here He says هدى للناس, guidance to humanity. And what should come to our senses at this point is that it is upon us, those who Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has bestowed upon the ni'mah, the blessings of recognizing this Quran for what it is as much as we can, to bring the beauty of it and the principles of it to other humanity. Because when Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says it is for humans, then it's upon those who know to take it to those who don't. It's actually, some ulama have decided that this actually an obligatory, an obligation, a decree of assignment to those who know the Quran to take it and introduce it to those who don't. هدى للناس, to human beings, to every human. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam celebrated Al-Quran all year round, but in Ramadan he celebrated twice as much. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was the most generous person ever, but he in Ramadan was more generous than any person can even imagine. So Ramadan, are we still on?
Yeah.
Okay. Something changed my screen.
Mm-hmm.
So as we prepare ourselves to Ramadan, we have to keep these beautiful meanings in our heads and hearts, and also, if we just receive Ramadan in a traditional way like we do every year, Ramadan was not made to be like a curriculum we study over and over and over again. So not every Ramadan we start over on purifying our hearts and fixing ourselves, but ideally we should start where we stopped. So the first day of Ramadan this year, we should have the level of taqwa that we have had on Eid al-Fitr last year, but that is, like I said, ideally. But as we look forward to live for years to come, inshallah, most of the people here are young people, inshallah, have great perspective and a great what is the word? Future in life. You prepare yourself to do that, to take Ramadan to be a year after a year, so that you in every year you're better than the previous year, not just doing the same or even less. We, to conclude, as we are receiving Ramadan, we hold dear in our hearts a very strong and powerful determination that we do our 5 prayers in time, and we recite our word of Quran every day, and we reflect. And as we receive the first day of Ramadan and we struggle with the thirst and hunger, you look at it as something that is very, very, very little to introduce to your Creator in obedience, because as they say, if you know the outcome, the work for that outcome would get easier on you. So the outcome is Jannah and the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. What is that compared to a little bit hungry, a little bit thirsty, and be in control of ourselves, control of our eyes, control of our ears and our tongues, not to speak anything that is unpleasant to ourselves or to Allah Ta'ala, and not to look or lay your eyes on things that you're not supposed to. Don't despise other people. Don't look down on people. Don't use any of your senses in a way that displeases Allah Ta'ala. We take this decision right now and make it a strong determination that we're not going to back out of. I ask Allah Ta'ala أن يبلغنا Ramadan. And as we are happy to receive Ramadan, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make Ramadan happy with us as well, as we receive Ramadan the way it ought to be received. جزاكم الله خير.
ربنا يبارك فيك. شكرا يا مولانا.
جزاكم الله خير يا سيدي. العفو يا سيدي. الله يكرمكم.
جزاك الله خير أخي شريف, بارك الله بكم, ما شاء الله. Great reflection.
الله يوسع عليك, الله يبارك فيك. جزاكم الله خيرا. Thank you for having me. I miss you all.
But Ramadan this year will be a little bit different. يعني I hope that we will inshallah will be waiting interestingly to meet and to receive Ramadan as a month of rahmat, and month of barakat, and month of khayrat, and month of Quran and Siyam, and لو يعلم الناس ما في رمضان من خير لتمنى أن يكون العام كله رمضان أن تكون السنة كلها. If people know the blessings of this month of Ramadan, they will wish that Ramadan or the whole year will be Ramadan. As we are in an unusual age or time, which Ramadan I hope that we may have tarawih in the masajid, but just in case it stay like this. So do you have any recommendations for us just to, in this regard, how we can use our time and take advantage of being at home, and do you have any special recommendation for such unusual time?
Wallahi, it is with a broken heart that I feel like, because you see, Ramadan for me is the masjid, and not to be able to be amongst all my brothers and the people I admire all the time in Ramadan especially is going to be hard on all of us. So this is and you see, when you are challenged by something and it's hard, and then you find yourself being taken to the higher level of that challenge. So being having to have Ramadan separate from each other like that is like a higher level of challenge. And that requires a higher level of strong will and determination.
Mhm.
Because when we meet in the masjid, we, take comfort in one another and in the company, and it helps a lot. It helps tremendously. So to have this help taken away from this hard challenge, it is a higher level of that trial, of that the test. So what I recommend is to prepare ourselves with a higher level of power and determination,
Mhm.
and protect ourselves from shaitan by a lot of dhikr, and read more Quran, and look at it positively, because maybe Allah Ta'ala has given you more time in your hands to use instead of chatting here and talking here or playing around there, to do more dhikr and more Quran. Maybe instead of reading the Quran one time through the whole month, you read it 2 or 3 times. I also recommend that, as we have been deprived from the physical presence in each other company, that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has provided this technology and the virtual gatherings, that we keep that going, and remember each other in our dua, and remind each other of doing khair. Sometimes I feel like embarrassed to tell my brother, how's your salah? Did you read your juz today? But you shouldn't, because Rasulullah told us that even the best of us get taken by the daily life and can lose track. So if you love your brother, you remind him of what sends him to Jannah. That's the utmost love.